true intelligence requires fabulous imagination. One has to have the courage of one's pessimism. I don't believe there's any inherent darkness at the center of religion at all. I think religion actually is a morally neutral force. Now, I'm an atheist. I really don't believe for a moment that our moral sense comes from a God. What reader wants to be told what attitude to strike? Politics is the enemy of the imagination. My parents were keen for me to have the education they themselves never had. They weren't able to guide me towards particular books, but they encouraged me to read, which I did, randomly and compulsively. I want to live in a place where strangers rush to help someone in distress. I'm quite good at not writing. Atheists have as much conscience, possibly more, than people with deep religious conviction, and they still have the same problem of how they reconcile themselves to a bad deed in the past. It's a little easier if you've got a God to forgive you. If I could write the perfect novella, I would die happy. What is it precisely? That feeling of returning from a poem. Something is lighter, softer, larger, then it fades, but never completely. It should simply be an empirical matter whether the climate is changing or not and whether we're responsible. But the various sides of the debate have now become so tribal that it's no longer a matter of changing our views as more information comes in. I've yet to meet somebody who said, "Your stories are so revolting I couldn't read them." The moment you have children and a mortgage, you want things to work. You're locked into the human project and you want it to flourish. How often one reads a contemporary full-length novel and thinks quietly, mutinously, that it would have worked out better at half or a third the length. I don't hold grudges. Perhaps the greatest reading pleasure has an element of self-annihilation. To be so engrossed that you barely know you exist. Novelists have to be adept at controlling the flow of information, and, most crucially, they have to be in charge of the narrative. I apologize for being obvious, but every time I watch the curtain come down on even a halfway decent production of a Shakespeare play, I feel a little sorrowful that I'll never know the man, or any man of such warm intelligence. My father's drinking was sometimes a problem, and a great deal went unspoken. He was not particularly acute or articulate about the emotions, but he was very affectionate towards me. You could say that all novels are spy novels and all novelists are spy masters. One important theme is the extent to which one can ever correct an error, especially outside any frame of religious forgiveness. all of us have done something we regret. How we manage to remove that from our conscience, or whether that's even possible, interested me. Scientists do stand on the shoulders of giants, just as do writers. Conversely, in the arts we do make discoveries. We do refine our tools. So I am arguing with, or at least playing with, the idea that art never improves. You can spin stories out of the ways people understand and misunderstand each other. As regards literary culture, it fascinates me that it has been so resilient to the Union. For example, 20s. Eliot wanted to become poet in these lands. It wasn't as an English poet, it was an Anglican poet he wanted to be. I think of novels in architectural terms. You have to enter at the gate, and this gate must be constructed in such a way that the reader has immediate confidence in the strength of the building. You enter a state of controlled passivity. You relax your grip and accept that even if your declared intention is to justify the ways of God to man, you might end up interesting your readers rather more in Satan. Some people are tied to 500 words a day, 6 days a week. I'm a hesitator. When I began, I thought that literature was contained within a bubble that somehow floated above the world commented upon by newspapers. But I became more and more interested in trying to include some of that world within my work. What I discovered, and really confirmed to myself, is that opera really likes loud colors. And you need something bold, something savage, unpredictable, passionate. You can't really run a 2-hour opera round some muted murmuring. By concentrating on what is good in people, by appealing to their idealism and their sense of justice, and by asking them to put their faith in the future, socialists put themselves at a severe disadvantage. It is not the first duty of the novelist to provide blueprints for insurrection, or uplifting tales of successful resistance for the benefit of the opposition. The naming of what is there is what is important. I always used to deny this, but I guess what I'm really saying is that I was writing to shock. And I dug deep and dredged up all kinds of vile things which fascinated me at the time. Not being boring is quite a challenge. I often don't read reviews. Reading reviews makes you thin-skinned. It's like waves washing layers off your skin. At the risk of sounding like Virginia Woolf, I could live on £700 a year. Oh, I've become immune to the bookers. I think we need something a little more like the Pulitzer Prize, where there isn't this great race. I don't really believe in evil at all.